I think I messed up. We're starting live again. Hang on. I do not know what happened here. Let's see if I can. Okay. Let's see if we can try this again. Ah, okay. Okay. Oh my God. I think we have an issue because Not Your Mother's Menopause is attached to April. And I think April, when you log in, it just goes haywire. But here we are. Yay!
We made it work. Here we
We
are.
made
How
it
are
work.
you?
Hi. So I'd like to welcome everyone. I am Stacy Futterman Toriello, April McKenzie, as well as Lauren Tetenbaum. And we are so excited to have you here.
Yes,
Thank you.
very excited.
For everyone to know that Lauren will also be part of our speakers for our Not Your Mother's Menopause event, which is happening January 11th, 2026. I'm going to read a little bit about you, Lauren, if you don't mind. You are a jack of all trades, I will say that. Lauren Tetenbaum is a therapist licensed in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Florida, a mother of two, the author of your amazing book, Millennial Menopause, Preparing for Perimenopause, Menopause, and Life's Next Period. You're a former lawyer and a forever advocate of women, which is amazing. And you're passionate about supporting women through life's transitions. And you frequently lend your expertise on mental health, gender equity to various media platforms and professional organizations.
Yes.
So, welcome. Amazing.
Thank you.
So, I'm really fascinated about this, actually, just diving in. So, just a little history about the three of us, because we are not millennials. We are Gen X.
All good. We can still be
but
friends.
but I can speak, I think, for April as well. Um, I had my daughter very later in life, so 45.
Mhm.
So all of my friends and mom friends are millennials.
Mm.
Same.
So yeah, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about this before. It's like, yeah, I mean, this is nothing unfamiliar to us. And what's interesting about the millennials is they're questioning whether they should be coming to an event like ours because they might not be feeling the symptoms of perimenopause. And I personally was going through infertility, which I know you're also really passionate about, um, during the time that I probably should have been going through perimenopause. So as I was giving myself going through IVF, I didn't even know about all this. And a lot of women now that are having children later in life are having their kids and then bam, they
Yep.
hit right into menopause and perimenopause. So it's really fascinating. So what made you write this book?
So I see that all the time when I tell other millennials that I wrote about menopause. I get a lot of, oh, I'm not ready to think about that. But I think it's really important to be proactive, to be prepared. And quite frankly, we're already probably in perimenopause. And I'm not a huge fan of labels. I like to think about the symptoms and think, how are you feeling? How are you doing? But so often women dismiss their own symptoms and they say, oh, I'm just a tired mom, or I'm stressed, or, I don't remember having a libido. It's been a while, but it's fine. I'll just suck it up. And you don't have to. Help is available. And I, like you said, have always been passionate about supporting women, about women's rights, women's health. And I'm certified in perinatal mental health. And I am a
Amazing.
mom of, thank you, I'm a mom of two. They might pop in any moment. I told them not to, but you
Hey,
never
it's
know.
life. It's life.
Same
Right.
here. I sent the text like I'm on a live. This is not yell for mom time.
No matter what, but that's okay. And I'm very real and it is what it is. But anyway, I realized that as much as I knew or learned about perinatal mental health, I knew nothing about menopause. And I thought, well, that's weird. I'm educated, I care. Why don't I know anything? And I met Ann Fullenwider, who's the co-founder of Alloy.
Right.
Every woman in the room was saying, I wish I had known, I wish I had been warned, I wish I had been taught. And I thought, I'm going to tell all my peers. And here we are.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, tell us more also about how you went from law and advocacy, right, to into mental health, because that's like something we don't see very often, right? Like you became a lawyer and then you became a social worker, right?
Yes. So I went straight from college to law school because I wanted to help women with advocating for their reproductive rights. So you don't normally think of law and mental health, but for me, the through line was always women's rights. And I actually hated my first year of law school. I really wanted to be on the ground with women, supporting women. And I simultaneously chose to pursue my MSW. And then I finished both degrees in 4 years. I did work in the legal industry for 10 years. And I became a mom, and COVID happened, and all the things that make us reevaluate what's important to us. And I thought,
Right.
women are struggling, even if they have resources, even if they're privileged, and I want to provide the support I wish I had had as a young mom, as a young woman in the workplace. And I thought the best way to do that would be as a therapist in private practice.
It
Yeah.
really is an interesting amalgamation of two very different disciplines, but really the way you just described it, it makes so much sense because they do go together so well. In the advocating for women, you're just doing it in a completely different way. You're helping them in a completely different way. And I just, that's amazing that you would, first of all, that you did both at the same time is huge kudos to do both.
Thank
But
you.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I love that comparison, and I didn't think about it that way when I was, reading more about your background.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredible. And what we do know is as women to go through the prenatal postpartum period and the mental health component of it not supported, right? Like they think they're crazy. They come in as a pelvic health professional, like I see this all the time. But now there's this other aspect where they're coming in this they're postpartum a while, but now they're going through a perimenopause. And they also, from a mental health perspective, say, I'm going crazy. Like, I feel like I'm going crazy. And what we know is hormones are the most powerful drug we have, right? Like, it's really incredible how much
Hmm.
hormones play a role in fertility. Well, even if we go back to the time we get our period, right? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
to supporting our daughters that are going through that as well. It's really incredible. So you're really an advocate for really through the lifespan of this.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
that's what I hope, and I really do intend to and want to support women of all ages. I say the book, yes, is for millennial women, but also anyone who cares about them. And hopefully that's everybody, right? Because we all
Hopefully
know
so.
women.
Hopefully so. So
Hopefully.
I love in your book when you talk about the fact that you're really trying to destigmatize the conversation around um, talking about menopause and perimenopause, and frankly, women's health in general,
Oh,
getting
yeah.
your period and making it a normal conversation.
Right.
Also, the mental health of it, which is also something that is a big stigma, not as much as it used to be, but I think it's another one of those scenarios where you're really trying to bring about a lot of the undiscussed or not discussed enough issues. One is very central to women, but one is central to everybody, and encouraging everybody to have a conversation. So I love that you're trying to push for that, and
Thank
that's
you.
one of the things that we're one of our goals
Mm-hmm.
is like get the conversation going and don't be afraid to talk about what's happening with your body and normalize it.
Exactly. And
Normalize the discussion.
yeah, it's so important because look at this is an issue that affects everybody, and yet women often feel very alone. And I hear that in my postpartum clients. and
Right.
women in their 20s who are navigating stressors at work or in relationships or with fertility, whatever it is. And you don't have to feel alone, and your neighbor, your friend might be going through it differently and
Mm-hmm.
likely is, but still you're in community together. And the events and the communities that you have built are so important for women to feel seen and supported.
Yeah.
Community really is a big piece of that. And that is another thing that we focus on is really being members of the community, working with our neighbors, our sisters, our friends in the community to bring in them information. So that is a thing, a theme that keeps coming up over and over again. And that's really where it starts is with that community.
Totally. Well, at our event, one of the things that we didn't really know we intended to do, but we did, right, April, is have round tables. So, like, when you go to an
Love
event, you're
that.
all lined up. And so we were like, oh, I guess we're going to do this with these like round tables. And when we were on stage, it really did feel like such a community of women. And a lot of women came up to us last year saying, oh, I only was going to stay for like half day, but it was so good. I stayed the whole day. And that's like really our thought process of like being able to talk to each other and say, well, this is what I have and this is what I have. And how are you dealing with this? And it's fascinating, like just again how we're starting this conversation and how great it has become. How has your but what have you gotten feedback about your book? I'm just curious because again, from a millennial
Yeah.
perspective, right?
So, like I said, people sometimes are a little bit funny about the word menopause, which, by the way, is part of the point of the book, right? That we can't fear it, we can't be disgusted by it. It's like adolescence, it's inevitable, it's just a phase of life. And I understand the stigma, and that's a lot of our culture around getting older and value related to fertility. So I'm certainly trying to, demystify and debunk that whole thing. But I really believe that knowledge is power. It's going to happen anyway. So let's not be afraid of it. And studies actually show that when you do approach this phase with an open mind, with neutrality, with maybe even positivity, you might have less severe symptoms. So it's
Hmm.
actually worth it to be more accepting of this phase of life. And once people do read the book, I've gotten really amazing feedback from lay people, from women's health professionals. And in general, it's very conversational. It's written in a fun,
It
very
is.
authentic
Yeah.
way. It's full of pop culture references, and it's not scary, even though it's very science backed.
Yeah. I
It's
definitely
incredible.
like the voice and the tone you have in the book for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that because it's really my voice. So thank you for saying that. It's
Yes, of
super
course.
authentic.
Absolutely.
Now, can I ask what part, and this is probably personal, but you said you're an open book.
Yes.
So when did you decide that you were like, I gotta write this? Like, was it your own personal story that started it? Because that for us, that's why we all three of us decided to do this conference, right? What was your passion behind it?
Sure. So, really, it was this networking event with Anne that just got lit a fire under me. I walked out of the event where all these women were saying things like, I wish I had been warned, I wish I had learned. And I thought, okay, there's something here that women in their late 30s, early 40s need to know. And at first I thought, is it just me? Did I miss this lesson? Why don't I know? And then I started talking to my doctor friends who are brilliant and said, yeah, we didn't get any training on it in med school. And I thought, that's strange.
And
And
shocking.
right, to
Shocking.
say the least, majorly problematic is really what it is.
Right. Yeah.
And so as an advocate, I wanted to learn more and educate others. And then, of course, the more I learned, the more I realized how much there was to learn. And of course, I did recognize, certain symptoms in myself. And it was just really powerful to listen to women who told me their stories, to listen to providers who told me their stories, And I feel such a privilege to be able to not only listen, but then share those stories so that we can all be learning and supporting each other.
Incredible. Incredible. And I will say, like, even to this day, I was at an event last night and a woman said she walked into her annual exam and said, I want to talk about what I'm supposed to be doing now. And she was in probably her later 40s. I don't know if, again, age group wise, where she was at.
Yeah.
And she was completely shamed from the minute she walked in. And this is last night. So this is not something that's like,
I
oh,
know.
okay,
It's
this was
not in the
6 months
past,
ago.
for sure.
And she's
No.
like, if you're going to talk to me about your Instagram HRT, I don't want to know. And she walked out of there feeling
Oh,
completely, but this is reality, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah.
You could tell my
this is what's,
reaction. I'm like, ew.
but this
It
is
is a
reality.
reality. It is a reality. And I see many women, and I'm so privileged to do this work where I see them in psychotherapy and they're talking about their symptoms. And I now am able to educate them. Like, this sounds like perimenopause. Let's rule out any other medical conditions,
Right.
talk to your doctor. But what's going on with you? Track your cycle. If you get your period, talk to your mother if you can. And so often it does turn out that it's perimenopause. And then I'm referring them, thankfully, to providers who can prescribe and who know what they're talking about because
Right.
so few do. It's
Hmm.
really, it's frightening, but that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Right. And look at how long it took us to get them to ask the questions to postpartum moms, right? Like,
Right.
let's just use postpartum moms as
Yeah.
our example, right? It
Mm-hmm.
went from like 0 to 60. Like, all of a sudden, physicians would ask you, like, the hospitals were asking you after you gave birth, are you feeling depressed? If you're
Right.
feeling
But like,
depressed, like, right?
that's
Like,
it, but yes,
right?
we're at
But
the bare minimum and yeah.
right, exactly. And now what the hope is, in my eyes, from a just even a check-in perspective, is that not only because mental health practitioners need to know this too, right? Like if
100%.
you're
And I
working,
train them now. Yeah.
right. And I
Mm-hmm.
think you did get your certificate, you're a menopause certified clinician, right?
Yes.
Which is
Yay.
amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you.
But they really need to have an understanding of it too, because
Hmm.
when a patient comes in and you're going through symptoms and you're like, wow, you're 42. Like, let's just
Mm-hmm.
use a random age.
Sure.
Wow, how are your hormones? Like, how do you feel? Are you having
Mm-hmm.
any symptoms of perimenopause? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so
And by
that
the
we
way, this is
know.
what perimenopause is. So
Yes.
many
Yeah.
women don't know. So many providers dismiss it. Oh, if you still get a period, you're too young. And it's BS. And it's so
Yeah.
important that women know themselves and know what's new and different and bothering them and feel comfortable speaking up.
Well, and I think for you in the role you play in the work that you do right now, it's really helping to affirm what they're feeling isn't could be mentally related, mental health related, but it likely goes much further beyond that because as we know, estrogen helps control every system in our body. So yes, I'm sure that there is some deficit with mental health, but it's could be all your systems or other systems too. So you are helping affirm them, which is great. Like that is so important in all of this and educating obviously too.
Yes, the psychoeducation piece is so powerful. Not that learning solves all your symptoms, but just that idea of, oh, this is happening to me. I'm not going crazy. There are
Right.
treatment options, and I'm not the first person to be experiencing this. And I totally agree that mental health professionals who do see women perhaps more frequently than, an annual primary care physician or OBGYN,
Hmm.
they do need to know and be aware. And I really enjoy that piece of my work too, where I'm able to train them and share the knowledge that I've gained.
Well, that's really amazing. And I think training also our primary care physicians is
Yes.
Yes.
so, I can't say this enough, is
Mm-hmm.
so important and so underlooked. Like, again, this is who you see once a year as well. And having everybody on the same page,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right. Or
Yes.
at least able to say, I'm not sure, but this is who you should call. Like
Right, right.
that's all we, that's the minimum, but not
Totally.
asking for much. And instead, women are getting dismissed. And that was also why I just felt such a passion to write this book, because I thought women need to feel empowered to advocate for themselves, whatever it
Yes.
is that they need.
I will say that the one thing you said earlier, which is knowledge is power, is the biggest piece of this. And you're right, it may not cure symptoms or make you feel better physically, but I think if anything, it does make you feel better to understand what's happening to you. And just to share a really short story, my journey in understanding what was going on with me started with mental health because I have a mental health history with clinical depression, but what I was experiencing was not depression. It was white hot rage.
Yep.
And I was like, what is happening to me? And the only time I felt better was the day my period started. And so I knew it was hormonally related. And I think I was on our like local moms group and somebody was talking about postpartum psychiatry. And I was like, well, gosh, if they can help with postpartum, where I know that is definitely hormonally related, I wonder if there's anybody who can specialize in perimenopause.
Mm-hmm.
Because I figured that was must be something related to that. And my first stop was with a psychiatrist who specializes in perimenopause. And I am so thankful for her because she was the first person to get me like feeling better, at least a little bit anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that
That's
was a
so
linchpin.
beautiful. You'll have to send me her name so I can connect with her and refer to her, because it's so important. So this is a collaborative care journey, right? It's
Absolutely.
not just going to be your OBGYN. It's also going to be your pelvic floor therapist, a nutritionist,
Yep.
your a trainer, your friends, your mental health providers.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yes, you do start collecting providers along the way. I call it my bevy of providers at this point because it's like endocrinology, cardiology, primary care, OBGYN, psychiatrist. There
It's
are a lot
a
of
shame,
people in my portfolio at this point.
but that's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's helping me. And
Good.
that's what people need to know is that, you really need to gather and collect those people, whether it's friends, family, or providers who are going to really help you get through this stage and
Absolutely.
and be okay with it and feel good again because it is possible from everything I understand and hope
Yeah.
for.
Yes. Yes, it
And
is.
again, this is why we created this event. This was why we're working so hard to make sure the event is like really fulfilling where women feel empowered when they walk out,
Mhm.
because it's important. They still have questions. Like they, even when you just meet women, I went to Woodlock Spa
Oh,
last.
lovely.
Oh my gosh. And you're in a class and it just comes up like it's like a natural thing that comes up. And women are just, they don't, I feel like we just don't get the support we need. You know, we're like, we're doing everything. We're like Wonder Women.
Right.
Well,
And we
duh,
are,
we are.
but that's exhausting.
Yeah,
And we deserve
Totally.
a break, or we deserve medicine. We deserve to feel heard and not told, oh, you just know that from the internet. Like, that's pretty gross. And I'm so sorry to that woman, but I'm glad she was able to connect with you to just
Right.
air her grievances and
Yeah.
feel validated.
definitely.
But I know you can appreciate this, is that this has been going on in the prenatal postpartum for so long. I mean, I
Mhm.
can't tell you how many women postpartum that give birth at 6 weeks and say, I'm in so much pain. And they're like, just have a glass of wine. Like, I mean, it's just the gaslighting of how you're supposed to feel when you go through a transition is
Mhm.
just so amazing. And I always say that no one should go through life unsupervised from a mental health perspective. like
Totally.
like everyone needs that person to
Mhm.
talk to in
Hmm.
respect to making sure your mental, because as much as your physical, the mental component is so huge.
It's so huge. And up to 70% of women in perimenopause experience mood symptoms. Now, that doesn't mean that they're having major depressive disorder. Although if they have had a depressive episode, they are at higher risk during perimenopause of having
Mhm.
another one. It just means that they're probably not feeling like their best selves and they deserve support. And like you just said about life unsupervised, I think any big change, having a baby, going back to work, a move, going through perimenopause, you deserve
Yep.
extra support.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
Yep.
Or lack thereof. Haha.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be. One thing that you compare this book to, or the reason to be for your book, was the what to expect when you're expecting,
Yeah.
and creating that same type of literature for women in this next stage. And I guess it goes back to what you were talking about with that one seminar that you went to, the conference you went to. Um, Tell me more about what you discovered as you were going through that day, because I remember reading that you were, did I miss something? But Anne Fullenwider, who is one of the co-founders of Alloy, she's fabulous. So
Yeah.
she
Fabulous.
obviously struck a chord with you. So walk us through like how you got from that point in time and deciding that you needed to know more. Like what did you do after that? Because you obviously didn't go and write a book. What happened in between?
So I have two very dear friends, Dr. Ariel Bayer and Dr. Taraneh Nazem, who are in the book. And I grew up with them. I've known them since puberty before. And they're reproductive endocrinologists in New York City. And I texted them and I'm like, what is menopause? Like, why don't I know anything? How does it work? When does it start? I know it's the end of fertility and it's for older women, and that's all I knew. And again, very educated, very passionate, and yet ignorant. And they walked me through some biology basics. But I also asked my girlfriend, a group chat of girlfriends, what do you know about menopause? They're mostly millennials. Everyone said nothing. I know you get cranky. Okay, I know about hot flashes. That was it too. So I then reached out to another friend named Antoinette, who runs a platform called Mama Beast, and I've written articles for her before. It's an online magazine, and I said I'd really like to write about millennials and menopause. And she said, you've got it, go for it. So I continue to research with different doctors, and I wrote a piece called Are You There? Menopause, It's Me, a Millennial Mom.
I saw that.
Which is amazing. And
Thank you.
I've heard many people talk about like Judy Blume needs to write this book.
Right. So,
Yeah,
I mean, Judy Blume taught me everything about sex and
totally.
love
Totally funny.
your body. So I was channeling Judy, hopefully. And I wrote the article, which was amazing and just really sparked my interest. I started, taking online courses and following a lot of educators on social media, well vetted educators, well trained. And I was really just wanting to learn more, always a lifelong learner. And then I was actually offered the opportunity to write the book. And it was really cool because I got to learn. I wrote the book I needed and wanted. And I do describe it as what to expect when you're expecting, but it's a little bit of that plus Clueless, which is both the tone, the movie, it's fun,
Yep.
it's girly,
Yep.
but also because we're so clueless, we don't even know what to expect.
Very good analogies, both of those.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hysterical. It's hysterical. Well,
Mhm.
we are like super excited for you to be attending our event, which, by the way, for everyone here is January 11th, 2026. We still have a few tickets available. We did sell quite a bit. And that will be in Maplewood, New Jersey. It's a full day community event. We feed you and all of that. And we're like super excited. We can't wait. And
Me too.
we're so glad to actually bring the mental health component to it, which we feel
Yes.
is super important.
Yeah, with it, as you know, there is so much to cover that it really was hard to pare it down to what we thought were the most important parts for that particular event. And so we knew that we had to include mental health. as this next event, because it is critical, and it really, like I said, it's kind of a linchpin for everything else. It's the
Yeah.
affirmation, it's the validation, it's the talking through, it's the understanding what's happening, and also for those like you who are educated, helping those women navigate to find the right providers and the right help, and not gaslighting them like we seem to all experience.
Yeah. And it can impact our physical symptoms too. And or if you feel good mentally, it can alleviate them. So that's something
Totally.
that we should all be implementing. I see a
Absolutely.
question too, how I think Gen X is paving the way. And I just want to say, in an incredible way, Gen X is paving the way for millennials. So thank you, Gen X. And what struck me about that meeting with Anne, et cetera, was there was rightfully a lot of anger towards the patriarchy about not being educated, not being offered information, resources. And so I thank all of my Gen X sisters, mentors, friends. And I really hope that my generation continues to carry on with this conversation and do so before we're looking at it from the other side. I want
Yes.
my generation to be proactive and not scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with everything else, like everything else, with each
Mhm.
generation, we learn a little bit more and hopefully push things in the right direction. And, maybe it's the millennials who push the providers and the medical schools to incorporate that into
Right.
their educational development plan,
Mhm.
force more of the continuing education for providers in all spaces. All providers should understand, because nothing is just individual. It's holistic. So everybody should understand this. It's just
This is not niche.
no, it is not. And as somebody who experiences an array of various symptoms, you absolutely need to be able to understand that this is stemming from a larger problem. It is not, oh, you have heart palpitations,
Right.
cardiologist. Oh, you have headaches,
Mhm.
whatever. You're losing your hair, go to a dermatologist.
Mhm.
It's definitely very a holistic, systemic issue. So do
Oh,
good by us. Do
yeah.
it.
It's
We're
We're
great.
all
cheering
doing
you
good
on.
together. It's
Yes.
really special to be in a community like this. So thank you for inviting me
Yeah.
to yours.
And we're excited because we hope that the millennials join us. I mean, we had quite a bit of millennials at our last conference.
Right.
And I was trying, as I was reading your book, because I love in the beginning, you outline like, what year is a millennial? Because I was like, I had to like look it up before, but there it was in your the beginning of your book of like, yeah, like what age group.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the late 30s, early 40s right now are the time that things
We're
change.
here.
And
I,
a
I
lot of women, again, are having babies at this time,
Yeah.
right? So they're not realizing it until they're postpartum and they're like, what? Like, now, why am I having hot flashes and I have a 2-year old? Like, yeah,
Right.
that definitely was me doing a look back. Like you're saying,
totally.
understand it before you get to the other side of it. And this is just a recent aha moment.
Mm.
When I went off the pill at 37, I did not have a regular period. And I was like, well, I guess that's just me. And I would go to bed and I get really hot at night. I'm like, well, I guess I just heat up at night. That's weird. But looking back now, it's like, okay, so at 37, I was experiencing symptoms. That
Mm-hmm.
is
Yep.
bananas. And I will
Bananas.
say, well past the decade mark for perimenopause at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think that span of time that they've been telling everybody is actually much longer than 10 years.
I agree. And at the Menopause Society just last week, they were talking about that. And again, that's why I think labels can be a little bit of a misnomer, because whether it's perimenopause or something else, if something's bothering you, we shouldn't just say, oh, whatever, I'm just tired. We should say, I think I should talk to someone about this
Mm-hmm.
and figure it out. And if it's bothering me, do something about it.
Sure. But I think as women,
Mm-hmm.
we have been taught to
Yeah, suck
suck
it
it
up.
up.
Yeah.
Like everything else,
Right.
like you have your period, you got to keep working. You
Don't
can't take a day
complain.
off. I don't want to hear about this. That is not
Mm-hmm.
my business. What? You're tired because you have kids? I don't care. That's not my business. That's personal.
You
So,
leak urine,
right.
you
Who
know, all of a
cares?
sudden, who cares? You've had two kids. Like,
Right.
what did
It's
you
no big
expect
deal.
was to happen?
Yeah,
Mhm.
we've just been trained to stay silent about it, and you're right. We shouldn't just accept the fact that these things are happening and just not go any further to question it or pursue fixing it
Sure.
or understanding.
Yeah.
I have one more question.
Sure.
So, what was the? Because now I didn't realize you went to the meeting last week.
Uh-huh. I
Did
did it virtually. I didn't attend this
okay,
year because I'm really tired.
I get it. But is there
Understand.
one thing that you got that you were like, ooh, I'm just curious. Like, was there anything that you like was like a take, like one little takeaway?
I there was a study that, of course, in the week since has been blasted out and then dissected, but
Was it the
basically
testosterone one?
no, actually, it was just the one that said there's a correlation between starting hormone therapy in one's late 30s, early 40s, and then risk
Yes.
reduction for disease. And
Got it.
there have been so many articles about it, and then kind of critiques of how it's interpreted, which always happens with women's health because the media sensationalizes things, and then we
Right.
tear women down. And I think the study itself, it was more observational. It wasn't a randomized control study. It said a lot of what I think those of us on the ground already know, that it perimenopause does start earlier than we've been
Hmm.
saying, or than the straw criteria, which is the official way to look at it. And that hormone therapy can lead to risk reduction. Now, we can't say it causes less disease, but there's some sort of relationship,
Relationship.
and there
Yeah.
needs to be more research. And I just think the more research, the more conversations we have, the better. I think that nothing is going to be the solution for every single person. There was also
Right.
a lot of media coverage of the recent FDA approved drug for hot flashes that isn't hormonal, and there was a lot of, hoopla about that, and it's great, but it's just one option.
Right.
And I think too, when we, really make it seem like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever, we're still reinforcing the messaging of hormones are bad, and we shouldn't be doing that because hormones can be extremely safe and effective for most women. But
Hmm.
again, it was great that it was an option. So the more options, the more conversations, the better.
Great.
And the earlier, right? The earlier the knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I've really appreciated and enjoyed chatting with you. It's been great to hear your journey, and definitely am in awe of all that you've done in your short lifetime to not only help women from a legal point of view, but then also from the work you're doing in a much um, more boots on the ground space in the mental health sector. So thank you so much.
We can't wait to see you in person. It's going to be so great. I will have makeup on that day. I'm so jealous how beautiful you are right now. And
Okay,
I'm
it's
like,
because I put on lipstick, but I'm sure people could see my dog was pulling at me. I'm like
yeah,
trying to navigate the kit, but
by the way, I was going to send Allison, who's on this, going, that was not my puppy. That was barking.
oh
He's
yeah.
downstairs probably pooping somewhere, but that's okay.
Same girl. Yep. No, but this is life, and we have
It's
to
life.
laugh
That's
and
right.
just be together and learn and have a good time.
Yep,
Exactly.
exactly.
So tell us one more time the name of your book.
It's Millennial
No,
Menopause, preparing for perimenopause, menopause, and life's next period. And here's my
nice.
dog if she wants to make an
Oh, we
appearance.
definitely need to see the puppy.
Oh,
Now
what?
she's playing with me and she won't come. Here, let me see if I can.
What
Hi.
is she? Wait, what is
She's a
she?
cavapoo, and if
I have
you
I
you
have
have one
a
too.
Cavapoo too. He's 5 months old, Teddy.
Oh, okay. So mine is almost 2, but she still kind of poops in the house sometimes. So when you said it, I was like, oh, great, same. But you have a valid reason.
So I was going to put makeup on and do this, except my dog went outside and got himself into a sticky bush.
Uh-huh.
So he had all these little tiny stickies all over his body. So Lexi and I are trying to pull them off. So after this, I was like, so I guess we're going El Natural, and that's fine. It's
It is
totally
fine.
fine.
You look
But
beautiful.
but
And yeah.
I knew I would really like you. We have a cavapoo.
And I don't know if you've ever seen the picture, but I'll send it to you. She got her period
Oh,
at the same
Yes.
time that it was really the same 24-hour period time frame that I told my kids I was writing about periods and menopause. And they were like, okay, we don't really got it, but like, sure. And then I'm like, look, it's a period.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So we love our dogs and talk about them at any opportunity.
yes.
Absolutely. They're part of the family. They're your fur babies.
They are, and they're fun, those cavapoos.
And
Hysterical.
Lauren, where can we find you on Instagram?
At the counselor, but LAUR for Lauren. As you
Love
can
it.
tell, I love puns.
And
Yes.
you have a book tour, right?
Yes, so I am, what's today? It's late October. So I will be in Cherry Hill, New Jersey on November 13th. And otherwise, this month I will be in Westchester County, New York, in New York City, and then Miami a few times. And then
Nice.
that's it. And then also Westchester again in December. That's it for 2025.
And then you pick back up on January 11th, 2026 in Maplewood, New
Exactly.
Jersey. And we can't wait to see you.
We
Thank
can't wait
you.
to see you.
Thanks again for being here and chatting with us.
Anytime. Thank you.
We
Have a good night.
appreciate it.
You too. Bye
Bye.
bye.